Ooh, it's on. Well, thanks everyone for coming today. I'm sure Nen would love us all equally as family. And we're here to remember her life and talk a little bit about her life. On the 11th of August 1925, in Heliopolis, Cairo, a hard-working draftsman, Cypriot Ziliou, and his wife, Artemis, welcomed into this world a bouncing baby girl, Aspasia. To every family member here, every friend, every acquaintance, we would always affectionately know her as Nana. Family friends, the Sarantises, would often come and socialise with the Ziliou family. And a friendship between their son Michael Sarantis, which began when Nen was just age 12 years old, would blossom into love over time. It was a love that lasted until and beyond the day my papu died in 1979. It was a love that will be remembered in our family and a love that will transcend time. Michael Sarantis asked for her hand in marriage at just 16 years old, and after a year-long engagement, my Nana and papu got married. Nana enjoyed her life in Egypt, and from an early age she did study quite hard, learning 6 languages fluently. But she also loved doing needlepoint. My great-grandmother Artemis really wanted Nana to continue studying and reading, so my Nana used to hide her needlepoint in her school books while they were on her lap and pretend she was doing her work. This cheekiness, though, never ended there. It was pervasive all throughout her life. She travelled extensively internationally and often rode around on a scooter with my grandfather. They hosted huge parties with always lots of dancing. That was her favourite thing to do with my grandfather. Life was always great and full of surprises, and in 1947 they were blessed with the first of their children, Panayoti. But as history shows, the world is always changing. And history would also play a hand with Nana's life in Egypt coming to an abrupt close. Nasser and the Suez Crisis of 1956 saw the family fleeing to Australia. Life in Australia wasn't easy during the next few years. With no assets, little money, they eked out a living. Nana worked hard with her sister Calliope as a seamstress. All the while, though, she still danced and she still hosted parties. Things began to settle down, and in 1961 they had their second child. And although it was a surprise to Nana to have a child after 30, she did say that having my mother was the best thing that ever happened to her in her life. And she was so named after Papu's favourite saint, Saint Catherine. Life was going great. However, fate and the death of my papu would see the need for our Nana to move with my mum and dad to Queensland, where she spent the remainder of her life. In Queensland, she lived a simple life, but she found purpose by being a caregiver to us all. We were the most important people in the world to her, and she lived to make our lives better. Though at times she did say she felt like a burden on my parents, I can say for certainty that without her and my life in particular would have been really different. I can also say that my mother in particular always felt grateful and blessed that she could rely on our Nana to be there for all of us. That reliance became ever more important as Nana, at some point, played a mother to me and my sisters. She was a primary caregiver for all of us at one point. She even accepted our friends as her own kin, embracing them despite all their quirks and differences, forcing them to eat huge quantities of Greek sweets. Like, come on, she really enjoyed her torts, and anything sweet, she would have it. Seldom did a day go past where we weren't walking home from school and we could see her out the back on the deck perched like a hawk watching us, you know. And I took comfort in the fact that when I got in the door of the house, it would be filled with an aroma of whatever was in the oven at the moment, be it a moussaka or a pasticcio. All the while, a tray of baklava soaked in syrup was sitting on the bench. It was just sitting there ready for a quick sugar rush. It was great. It was fantastic. You know? She would hug us and she'd go sit in a chair and do a crossword book or watch some sappy soap opera like Days of Our Lives or Bold and the Beautiful. All the while she watched TV, you know, she was a rigid enforcer of discipline though. Never afraid to chase us with the wooden spoon or give us the evil eye. She was a product of her era. She was old school, you know. She never tolerated our mischief. She was also super protective. But she also had these little quirks where she'd let us get away with pretty much anything up to a point. We're all little terrors, I tell you. Her presence did command respect though, but you strangely grew to love it. It was kind of weird. The little things with Nan seemed to stick out the most though. Her pockets full of rolled up tissues, her frustrations and the way she'd say, "Estudialo, stócalo." The way she could hear everything from her bedroom right at the far end of the house. Everything, and I mean everything, you know. You're sitting in bed at 5 a.m. and you hear on the wall because she's wanting to know if you're awake, you know. The way she would shuffle down the hallway in her slippers, burn a half a pitta in the toaster and eat it with cold halloumi and feta while sipping a lukewarm cup of coffee with undissolved coffee in it. It was terrible. She burnt everything. What was that? She would often cheat at cards to the point where we even called it doing a nana. She used to get upset when the eggs and flour went missing because someone was using them to egg people's houses. But all the while, yeah, I'm looking at you guys. All the while though, she turned a blind eye, which was kind of strange. One of my favourite memories though is interrupting her prayers for a goodnight kiss in her room before bed. That always does it. Those who knew Nana though knew she never drove a car. Well, she did drive a car once, but it was into a fence, which my grandfather mocked her so badly about that she swore she would never drive again. And it probably didn't help that she was also, despite being warned to be careful about it, locked the keys in the car. True to her word though, she didn't drive. She was, however, quite content to be chauffeured by us all. And though she never drove, she would always judge other road users. In particular, when Christine first learnt to drive, she had no issues educating other road users with hand signals. Particular hand signals. I'm sure everyone here has memories much like mine. They're good memories, something we'll always have to cherish. It isn't often in our lives we come across someone so special that the person stays with you forever. Nana was that kind of person. To think that someone like her felt that way about us should make us feel more than just a little good. We can never forget that there is a part of her in each of us, something that she gave to us and asked nothing for in return. Money can be squandered, property can be ruined, but what we inherited from her can't be damaged, destroyed, lost. It's permanent, and it keeps her from becoming just a wonderful memory. It allows her in so many ways to remain just as alive as always, and alive within us. There have been, and there will be times in my life and our lives where situations arise and I want so much to talk to her and be with her and ask her just what should we do? What should I do? And I hope that when those times come, we can begin to look at each other and find that part of her in each of us that she gave. Maybe we can learn to lean on each other and rely on each other the way that we always knew that we could with her. Maybe then she won't seem so far away. To summarise a near century of life is difficult at best and impossible at worst. But I can say that for only ever having the one grandparent in my life, I'm glad I had my Nana to fill the void of them all. I think my sisters might have wanted something to add.